Good, happy Friday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on RK Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday evening, so let's get started right now. First up, class action lawsuit filed over allegations of stolen and sold body parts. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9 Ariel Metropolis.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. Part of
Jen, Steve, that is the significant numbers. The lawyers here today say up to 400 people who gave their bodies to science may have been affected by this scheme. This lawsuit was initiated today on behalf of all the families who may have been affected. A federal indictment this week claimed that Cedric Lodge stole dissected parts of donated bodies from Harvard Medical School, where he was the morgue manager. Lawyers said a Massachusetts man says he believes his mother, Adele Mazzone's remains were among those mishandled. The suit says Harvard was, and I quote, negligent when it failed to take responsible steps to ensure the cadavers were properly handled and maintained for their intended purpose, end quote. Harvard has previously responded to this indictment, calling this, quote, an abhorrent betrayal. And lawyers here today say they are determined to get answered for these families.
There's deep wounds that have been reopened by the recent revelations, and we believe in bringing this case that we can help these families achieve peace and closure to understand what exactly happened.
And again, lawyers here are encouraging any family members who believe they have a loved one who is affected by all of this to come forward. We're live in Boston. Ariel Metropolis, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Legal bone business owner calls New Hampshire case appalling. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. Part of the
Hopefully we can make clear distinctions between people that are doing it wrong and people that are doing it right.
John Pachaya Ferry says when it comes to the market for human remains, he and many others are doing it right. And he was disturbed to read about the black market dealings allegedly facilitated by the Harvard University morgue manager, Cedric Lodge, and his wife, Denise.
I found out with this story just like everybody else, and I was appalled by it.
His New York-based business, John's Bones, offers a wide range of human skeletal remains. Ferry says everything in his display room is from a retired medical piece, often 50 to 100 years old and purchased from medical schools, physicians, or their estates.
We want to make sure that these pieces have the correct indicators that they are from a retired medical collection and not just anything that could be found from an ossuary or a public grave.
Ferry says many of his customers are medical students, chiropractors, or even first responders who can use those bones for training and learning.
They fall out of public circulation and we purchase them back, and our goal is to get them back into the educational field.
He says the case involving the Harvard morgue is disturbing, but a rare, isolated incident in an industry he says has a strong commitment to ethics. He worries it will further stigmatize a field that's meant to improve scientific understanding of the human body.
My heart's broken for the families affected by this, especially for individuals that were interested in donating their bodies to medical science. I'm extremely worried that this could scare them away due to this incident.
And an important point that Ferry made, he says that human remains should never be used for decoration or for vanity, only for the purpose of education. The lodges are just two of 7 people currently facing federal criminal charges as part of this investigation that spanned across 5 states. Ross Ketchke, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Suspect in Manchester stabbing arrested at a gas station with blood on clothes affidavit says. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Imagine a world where you can be your own boss and create your own schedule. With a New Hampshire commercial driver's license, you can choose.
1:30 in the morning at this gas station. Court documents say that's the time and place where Robert Eastman met with his nephew to tell him that he just murdered his ex-girlfriend. Merrimack police went to the gas station for a welfare check and saw Eastman with blood on his clothes that Eastman said was from work. During this time, Manchester police went into the ex-girlfriend Lori McClellan's apartment and found that she had been stabbed multiple times, eventually pronouncing her dead at the scene. Eastman is now charged with second-degree murder, but waived his arraignment and will now be held in preventative detention. The court documents had interviews with neighbors of the victim and said they heard yelling and banging. Domestic violence survivor advocates say anytime a case like this comes up, anyone can help.
If you are a neighbor and suspect that someone might be in an abusive relationship or there is something happening that draws concern, anyone can contact our crisis centers or call our statewide helpline.
The number for that hotline is on your screen. You can call 866-644-3574.
Raise awareness about what domestic violence actually looks like, what abusive relationships actually look like.
Now, the police were initially called Thursday morning at 1:30, and a day and a half later, they are still here at the scene of the crime. We're live in Manchester. Troy Lynch, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police in Laconia looking for motorcyclist after hit and run left two seriously injured. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Imagine a world where you can be your own boss and create your own schedule. With a New Hampshire commercial driver's license, you can choose.
Yeah, that's correct, Catherine. A yellow helmet, which the chief says is rather unusual. Now, the accident happened right here at this place here, just as the bar was closing around 1 a.m. Now, the accident happening on Watson Road, the police chief says there were a lot of people crossing the road as the motorcycle was riding close to the fog line. The bike was described as a blue Harley Sportster, and again, the rider wearing a yellow helmet. The motorcycle hit the two pedestrians, leaving them with significant injuries to their lower bodies. The two were taken to Concord Hospital. As for the rider,
he did fail to stop. He initially slowed and then took off at a high rate of speed, going across Route 3 and onto Roller Coaster Road.
as you take a live look at the scene once again here, at this point there's no update on the two pedestrians' condition. The chief says that if anybody has information, they'd like them to get in touch with the Laconia Police Department. You can always leave an anonymous tip by texting the word Laconia to 847-411. Reporting live in Laconia, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police work to identify a man killed by a vehicle on Route 106 in Loudon. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Imagine a world where you can be your own boss and create your own schedule with a New Hampshire commercial driver's license.
Okay, that was video from the scene. Police are working to identify a man who was hit and killed by a vehicle just before midnight Thursday night. Police said the man was hit in the southbound travel lane of Route 106. Investigators hope autopsy results can help them identify the victim. Police said the driver of the vehicle stayed at the scene and contacted 911. Anyone who might have seen the collision or has any information is asked to call Loudoun Police. Woman killed in a collision with a tractor trailer in Henniker. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Imagine a world where you can be your own boss and create your own schedule. With a New Hampshire commercial driver's license, you can choose it.
All right, now to this. A Concord woman is dead after police say she crashed into two other vehicles on a Henniker highway. Police say Natasha Brown crossed the center line Wednesday morning on Route 202 and 9. They say she hit an oncoming tractor trailer and then hit another vehicle head on. The woman in the second car was injured. The truck driver, in this case, was not hurt.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Minneapolis PD had pattern of discriminatory bias, DOJ said. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Turning now to the scathing report on the Minneapolis Police Department. A DOJ investigation finding a pattern of unconstitutional behavior, including racial discrimination and the use of excessive force, especially against Black and Native American people. Systemic problems that they say made the death of George Floyd possible. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas in Minneapolis tonight.
Today, 3 years after George Floyd was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer, a moment of reckoning. The Justice Department concluding George Floyd's murder was a symptom of a broader disease.
The patterns and practices we observed made what happened to George Floyd possible.
Among the damning findings, that Minneapolis police use excessive force, including unjustified lethal force, too often, and that they unlawfully discriminate against Black and Native American people.
MPD stopped Black and Native American people nearly 6 times more often than white people in situations that did not result in arrest or citation.
The DOJ report was chock full of deeply disturbing examples of brutality and racism.
For example, after MPD officers stopped a car carrying 4 Somali American teens, one officer told the teens, quote, "Do you remember what happened in Black Hawk Down when we killed a bunch of your folk? I'm proud of that. We didn't finish the job over there. If we had, you guys wouldn't be over here right now."
Community leaders say they've been sounding the alarm for years, only to be ignored.
We remember the days where the police will take you down to the Mississippi River at night and point guns at you and beat you.
So I asked the Attorney General.
Black people, brown people, this deals with how they live their daily lives. How do you address that?
Okay. Every person in the United States must be able to go about their daily lives without concern that they will be affected by unconstitutional policing. And what we saw in the report is heartbreaking.
Pierre Thomas joining us now from Minneapolis. And Pierre, after George Floyd was murdered, the police department promised change. So whatever happened to those reforms?
But today, everyone acknowledged changing this police department will take time. After George Floyd, city officials banned the use of chokeholds, but DOJ's investigation found examples of Minneapolis police still using the dangerous technique. Hundreds of police have quit, and morale is at rock bottom. The city is now working with DOJ on a consent decree that will mandate change. Whit?
Pierre, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into weather. And here's the weather forecast from meteorologist Mike Haddad.
Bullfrog spas are the most customizable spas available, and they're available right now at Custom Pools and Spas. Patented jetpacks make designing the perfect spa experience.
Thank you very much for joining us. Stormwatch 9 weather on the web. Another weekend is here. Unfortunately, for those who want to be outdoors, we have some impact weather to speak of for tonight in the form of scattered showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms here or there. And then on Saturday, a steadier rain will fill in as the day wears on. And some of that rain could be on the heavy side, some ponding on area roadways, even some small river flooding, not out of the question. The issue for tonight, however, in northern New Hampshire is for a chance, very low chance, but not zero, of flash flooding in northern New Hampshire due to some repeated downpours and storms in that part of the state. Elsewhere, showers and storms will fill in as the evening wears on, taper off by morning, and then more rain fills in as the day wears on for your Saturday. So for tonight, we'll bottom out around 55 or 6 in and around Whitefield, upper 50s to around 60, Plymouth, Laconia, Concord. Basically, anywhere in the state is between about 56 and 61 by early tomorrow morning. For tomorrow, no big temperature jump. As a matter of fact, we're only going to top off a few degrees higher than the overnight lows, which is about basically 15 degrees below average for a daytime high during the mid part of the month of June. Now, it gets very tricky tomorrow morning at, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 a.m. There could be showers for some and breaks for others. However, as the morning wears on, the rain is going to fill in from the ocean, and some of that rain could fall at a pretty good clip during the mid-morning, right into the afternoon, and even into Saturday evening. Finally, by early Sunday morning, the back edge of the storm begins to move on through. So the rain tapers off early Sunday morning, clouds, some brightening, maybe even a few breaks of blue sky here or there, with a slight chance of a pop-up afternoon shower. Temperatures again really tell the story. Nowhere close to the norm on your Saturday. By Sunday, maybe a few notches above that in the 60s to around 70. We'll get to 70 if we squeeze out any partial sun. Monday and Tuesday, slightly higher temperatures, partly sunny. Each day could be a shower or thunder shower. And then Wednesday, partly sunny, a pop-up shower, thunder shower, but we're up near 80, and the official start of summer kicks off on Wednesday. Beyond then, temperatures get the hint, well above where they have been for quite some time by the end of next week.
Okay, and there you go on that weather forecast from meteorologist Mike Haddad. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on RK Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. Good night and goodbye, everyone.